Alrighty, and welcome back to another one of my RPG Maker tag-along videos, whatever you want to call it. Markiplier game, Mark of the Covenant update videos. I've done a little bit more work off camera because I'm not going to record every last thing. I mean, this would take months. I mean, it would just add even more workload if I can't just sit down and work on it when I want to. But I have done a couple of things. I did a weapon shop and a gun shop, which is a little bit of a joke. No, a gun nut that's a Jesus freak. Well, it won't be Jesus. It'll be something amusing. I haven't quite ironed out the details yet, and I'm not really going to give a whole lot of stuff away, but I figured I could do another map and show you how to do a shop that looks reasonably good. Go ahead and copy this one, put it in there. So what's the next thing we can do a shop of? We could do armor, just like healing items. We could do magic shop, a magic shop. A bank, maybe. I don't know what the hell I need a bank for. Like, or a pawn shop, even. Let's just do something a little bit simple. We'll do like an armor shop. Let's pick one of the... I've been putting most of the military stuff up here, so go ahead and save that, so that's saved in place. And I figured out a system, because the basic map, I can go ahead and go into the map view. Here are the properties. Armor shop. The default width, I believe, that you can have is 17. That's the lowest it'll go to. So, in order to get kind of a scale here, there's two ways you can do this if you want to make sure everything actually makes sense scale-wise. You either need to actually make the outside on the same scale as the inside, which is doable. It just means you're going to end up with absolutely gargantuan damn maps, especially for something like a city, where if you want to have more than a couple of buildings on the screen at a time, you're in trouble. Or you can do what I did, which is basically just come up with an almost arbitrary, but in this case it's the smallest rule that makes sense, which is each space on the outside for the width of the building is equal to 6 spaces inside. So kind of a Doctor Who sort of thing going on here, but I've always taken it that the scale on the outside is kind of a... I don't know how to put it. It's like more representational than literal. So, since the smallest size of width you can make a map is 17, that means that in order to actually have something that looks like a building, is like this right here, and have a door, because you'd never put... Oops. I mean, you would never build a building and put a door on the corner like that. I mean, maybe you would, but in terms of even representational-wise, that just looks retarded. So in the middle, at least, makes it look like a building. So the smallest number that you can have 3 spaces on the outside and equal to something over 17 on the inside is 6. So that's what I came up with. I don't know if other people do something similar, but that was my solution to getting something that is to a scale. Basically, the outside is 1/6 scale to the inside. Relatively speaking, I'm not as strict on the floors, because you could say that the same thing, that it should actually be this high, on the same height on the inside too. So if this is a 4x4 square, so it should actually be like 24 by 24 tall. But then, floors don't have to, it could have a high ceiling. You don't have to obey any particular rules for the floors, I don't think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that's more or less what it already is yep, 36. Height is 18, which is, again, you can make it higher if you want, but in this case, we're talking about fairly small buildings. I'm thinking that the backstory for this area is that it used to be like a market green, but over time, instead of stalls, they just have permanent shops that have taken up residence here, and now they live in their shops, and all that good junk. Is kind of like having a market center in a city. You know, what's not, you know, like you have residential area and like, you know, there would still be shops everywhere else in the city. It's just that this kind of arbitrarily sticks them all in one place for when the player needs to look for stuff. They know where to go looking for it instead of having to search everywhere. And then other parts of the city have their own roles, like a port area, maybe a residential area, the rough part of town, that sort of shit. So we've got our armor shop. Go back to the outside right quick, and we've got that interior for the walls. So the first thing we're going to want to do is basically just go in here and get rid of everything. Use the square tool, that makes it easier. Okay. And we'll deal with this when we change the wall. So, because my memory apparently isn't working today, it was... No. Yeah, that one. Which it would appear we don't have on the inside. I think that's about as close as I'm going to get. So yeah, doing the walls and stuff for your... yeah, looks like it's going to have to be that. There we go. Of course, we don't have to use that one. We can use a darker one. I kind of like that better. You know, it's just a matter of getting your perspectives right. So, where was the door here? It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Yeah, 6. Okay, so it's 3 over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's already in the right spot, because it's more or less the same. So this is going to be an armor area, so we'd actually want this one to have kind of a big floor for a showroom. It's not going to be like these with like stuff behind a counter. This is going to be more like a showroom sort of place. So go ahead and stick a wall like here, like that. So this is going to be for the interior. Give it a little bit of a corridor here for privacy. And we can have like a bit of an open area here. Let's go ahead and do our walls so we know what we have to work with here, which is not a whole lot of space. Actually going to have to change that. The floor, there's a floor. Alright, so there gives us a path in. Alright, where was the chimney on this one? We didn't put a chimney on this one yet. So let's go ahead and use, let's say we'll use that one and go ahead and stick it up there. It's a nice chimney. Chimney. I probably shouldn't be singing songs that might get me in trouble. I think this is an oven. Is that an oven? Is that an oven? I cannot tell. It kind of looks like an oven. Whoa, too high. And I've been kind of using a mixture of the basic stuff, the fantasy stuff, and some of the Japanese themed stuff that I have been able to get. Is that a damn stove with supposed to look like a chimney? Interesting. It doesn't really matter. It really does not matter at all. So let's add a little bit of character to this area. Let's see. Probably wouldn't want your stuff to be there. This person has a significant other. We'll go ahead and give them some fishy fish here. So, I mean, you can see what I'm kind of doing here. There's really a lot of this stuff is just, you start with something bare and basic, and then you just kind of add to it over time. So, go over here, and we just use something like a basic counter. Okay, do that, and then, nope, that's not going to cooperate with me, that fucking figures. Okay, just do it this way then. Sometimes just trying to get the perspective to look halfway decent, because I do it like that, it does kind of look like it's going all the way up to the wall, but it almost looks like it's on the wall. Oh well, that'll do. Fuck it, I'll just do it this way. Thank you, sir. Alrighty, let's see, what can I stick on here? I need to make that bigger, because it doesn't look like a proper counter. Can't really put stuff on it. Nope, not gonna work. There we go. And you can put the guy's lockbox there. Put a little bonsai tree over here. Just add just those little touches. Just little touches. Okay, we can, over on the wall over here, we can put some of these helmets. And then we got things like over here, we can, don't want to stick in hats and stuff. You You got cloaks. You know, and one of the things I'd probably go ahead and do is go into GIMP, which is my preference, and just recolor some of this stuff. Maybe go and see if I can find some additional armor and stuff that I could use. Actually, let me check something right quick. Cause I don't think that messed anything up. No. Because this is one that I might actually want to make up yet another set for, because I'm thinking that the Japanese themed sets had additional armor. So let me pause this and check right quick. So I went looking through the resources I've got, and very limited options on armor items, so it really does look like my best bet is I'll just have to kind of go through and recolor some of this stuff, maybe mod it a little bit, maybe like do something with this and make it look like chainmail, do some stuff like that, maybe like take something like this one and remove some of the extra stuff and make it look like a breastplate. Maybe try and do something with one of them and make it look more like medieval, or well, not medieval, but old school. What was that called? You know, just like scale mail. It's really just retexturing and coloration, so that's no big deal. I can do that stuff. I use GIMP. It's just GIMP. It's graphical something or other. It's like a free version of Photoshop. Does most of the same stuff. Open source, free to use. Highly recommend it. So this is still looking really friggin' bare. Obviously, once I've done some retexturing and stuff, put that there. I'd actually be able to fill this up with some more things and it'd look more used. There's other little things we can do. Let's see. Can have like a ledger book there. See what else we can do to kind of put in some extra. Just like somebody's actually living in the place and using it. Yeah, it looks out of place there. See, this one was pretty good as a dining table. Let's see. So we've gone with a little bit more of the Asian sort of, the Japanese sort of feel to this. And let's see here, what else can we gotta throw in that would look good, fit. Kinda, that's not really right. Something like that on the wall. Oh, let's see, what else can we do? Maybe, a loom. There, let's see. We could have, like, let's see what else we could have here. Not sure what that is. We could go ahead and have something like a big table here. And let's see, what could we put on it that'll give the effect that I'm thinking of. I'm not sure. Okay, so what basically what I could do for what I have in mind is basically I could do something like take one of these bits of armor here and just put it right there. Only what I'll do is I'll create an edited version of these tiles, and this one, you know, one of them, though, I can put this in as a placeholder so I don't forget about it, but I'll have it like half there, like parts of it incompleted, so like this is a work area. The guy isn't just importing all of his stuff, he actually, or she actually makes some of it. So I can do stuff like that. I can go ahead and use something like this right here. I like to use the counter bits because you can put stuff on top of them. The only problem is that you can't really turn it around, so I don't think I'd want to put that there necessarily, so maybe right there. Then I can find something else to put there. Oh, let's see. Like that. Maybe some bottles like that. Waste bin there. A book. Let's see. Can put some cloth there. Go back here to the kitchen area and hang up some this stuff. That sort of little stuff like that is always great for making a place look like an actual home. There we go. There's some tools. It actually looks like a workbench where somebody's making stuff. Just completely arbitrarily stick up a damn cow head on the wall. And since I've got this kind of Wild West pack of stuff, Some cowhide. Just for the hell of it. You know? Why? It makes it look more interesting. You know, you don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain every little thing. It's just once this is populated and you actually have, or rather I actually have more stuff for people to look at, more items that they could potentially buy, because that's how I would actually do it, I think, is, they can actually buy the items from the racks here instead of just talking to the shopkeeper, because that would make it a little bit different than most RPGs. Most RPGs, you just talk to the shopkeeper and they magically hand over something to you that you've bought. Here, you would actually buy it off the rack, or actually, perhaps say that you want to buy something. I mean, setting it up this way would be a little more complicated, but I think it might make it more interesting to have at least one shop that's a bit different than all the others. Or, you'd go up, say, I want to buy this, and then that would probably trip a trigger, and then you could go buy it, and then that would reset the trigger. Would be the easiest way to do it, I think. And if you don't know anything about RPG Maker, that probably made no sense to you, but something like that. And, it just make it a little bit more individualized. Which is really what a lot of these shops is all about, That's one of the good things about doing it this one the way I am, which is basically the big city is where you're going to be going for the vast majority of your shopping, so this way I don't have to make 30 different shops that all are pretty much the same thing, just with the next level of gear. This way, pretty much everything will be available right from the start. It just depends on how much money you've got. And of course, you're not going to get a whole bunch of money until later in the game. Plus, as of now, I've got it to where the enemies scale up to around your level, so that'll take some tweaking to make sure it balances out properly and they offer a challenge, but that means that the way it'll work is you can go to the different areas of the game in any order you want. And the order that you go to them in and the actions from one can affect what happens in others. Like, an example I came up with would be, let's say you go to one area first, the sewers. That's going to be one of the different areas you can work with, is quests involving monsters in the sewers. A classic RPG cliche, which is part of the point. And you piss off an NPC in that section. You just royally piss them off. Then you go to another section later, and that guy's cousin is in that area, and they normally would have given you a quest, but now because you pissed off their cousin, they keep in touch. They know who you are, and they're not going to give you the quest no more because you pissed off their cousin real bad. So, just little things like that. It adds more depth and dynamics to a game. And, and again, it's just little stuff like this. I mean, this one looks kind of bare. But then, not every single thing has to be, so populated that you can't tell what the hell's going on. Because there's just too much shit. That's never good. Too much is worse than not enough in a lot of ways. But, we can just have things like a couple of chairs sitting like that. Maybe go ahead and... No, that doesn't work. We can stick it down over here. Just a little plant right there. Maybe we can stick in some crates down here. So, it's a working shop, It looks like a place where people live. It's where they work. They make their, they have their craft that they work with there. Go ahead and throw in another set of cabinets here. I'd go ahead and move that. Go ahead and use this one. And just sit it there. And again, that's just a placeholder anyway, so the idea would be to make it look like it's not complete. It's an incomplete piece of armor that they're working on still. So there you have it. There, it's a shop. Obviously, it's not completed yet. I need to put it in the NPCs in. I could go ahead and throw in a few more decorative items here and there, maybe. But, that's one of those things that you don't necessarily want to go overboard. No, I saved most of the decorative stuff is in the home area, and then the shop itself, for the most part, once I expand the selection of armors and stuff that'll be available, that'll fill this part out. No, it's like over here, the first one I did, the weapon shop. You have all these weapons, and weapon storage over here, more storage down here. It's a popular shop. And then you have just these little things like this right here. All I'll have to do is put some things on it that it's a shrine to a god of war. I haven't got my list of the various gods and goddesses of Quinip out yet, or with me, so I can't go through all the names. And then, like notes and tea. Things that people would actually just have sitting in their shop. They have a damn tea break in between selling stuff. And this one, there's a little, like a little Hindu statue over here, and the table and chairs, and just like a shelf with some stuff on it, and his bedroll and a broom over here. A little changing rack for whatever reason, and mats with food and a mop and storage, and then you have a kitchen over here. It looks like someplace where somebody works and lives. The gun shop, again, I know a little bit of a joke there with the Jesus freak gun nut thing. Which, you have the crosses and religious stuff everywhere. And then you have, like, guns and ammo all over the place, and beer bottles, or whatever it would actually be. Another little, guys getting drunk and going hunting. And then you have this tiny-ass kitchen. I didn't put a table in here. Well, there's a desk here. This is the sort of thing that just put a chair there, and then you have where they eat. And also little touches like this radiator that signify, okay, this isn't a normal, in like a desk and cabinets here. Little tiny things that say, okay, this isn't just a standard fantasy world. This one's a little bit different. It's a bit more modern. It's not high fantasy. It's kind of a sci-fantasy almost. That sounds really strange, but kind of, sort of. And that to me, that's how you make your shops look good. Right here you have all this space that it looks like it's empty, but you figure the walls, obviously it is a game you can't walk in this area behind the wall, because the tiles are occupied by the wall. You'd be walking on the wall. But you figure, okay, there's probably space here behind the wall. This will just be taken up with more storage. You just give enough of that idea there. Like over here, with that 3D perspective, it looks like, and obviously the character won't be able to walk down here, but it's just for storage. It's just to give more of that feeling of this is a place that is used for something. You know, the space isn't just there. It's not just taking up the space. You know, there's stuff, you know, you can almost imagine that behind this wall is even more crates of weaponry and stuff, or polish, you know, gun polish, or not gun, but sword polish, and stuff for treating your bowstrings to keep them working order, and things to treat your weapons and your bow and stuff for the weather, and all that stuff. You know, you could, just with that in mind, you know, I could go in and find some, like, barrels. And there's not a whole lot of room anymore, but maybe, like, right here. And just, you know, because I wouldn't necessarily restrict them from going around and searching for stuff, so I can just stick in some text here. It's like, a barrel of weather treatment oil. You know, obviously a little reference to PewDiePie there. Check the... I'm rendering out some other video at the moment. That's why this is kind of slow at times. You know, again, same as character. Make sure your damn priorities right so they can actually interact with it. So again, that's just a little thing. Tiny, insignificant, but if somebody's playing the game and they come across that and they look at it, why is there a barrel at a weapon shop? They look at it. Oh, yeah. They actually did that sort of thing, didn't they? And it's just one of those little touches. It's little things like that that just bring a game to life more. For a lot of people, they wouldn't give a fuck. Most people probably wouldn't give a fuck. They might look at it and go, whatever, or not even bother to look at it at all. But for the people who really love these kinds of games, it's little touches like that that are really going to set your game apart and make them go, this guy or girl put some thought into this. Maybe they missed some things here and there, but they put in some of those little TLC things, the tender love and care. They put in some of those little extra touches, and I like that. So, you know, don't ignore the little things like that if you can help it. I'm not saying you have to nitpick over every tiny fucking detail of your game if you don't want to. But sometimes it's just adding in those little touches can help you set you apart. So, I'm not really sure what the point of this video was, but if you've been watching this long, I hope you found something informative or interesting or entertaining about it. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Ryan Acidheads Murphy with another progress report on Mark of the Covenant, my upcoming Markiplier fan game RPG / fan game. Comedy RPG. Comedy in the vein of like a Discworld and that sort of thing. A bit more than... No, Jack to the Future was more like a Mel Brooks, Leslie Nielsen kind of comedy. This is a bit more Discworld and Douglas Adams, I think. So, one last time, thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.